remedies don't affect them. It affects the people who wouldn't have been going to jail. And now they're being compelled. And mandatory minimums do one thing the police like. It turns everybody into snitches. Because all you have to do is catch some 19-year-old and tell them you're facing an automatic 6 months or a year or 2 years in jail, and you'll squeal about everybody he knows in order to prevent going there. So it has a very net widening effect that more and more people are arrested. More and more people get equally intimidated. If you don't tell us everything you know, you go to jail automatically. Whereas now you can hold out that you might get a conditional discharge or fine, any number of things, or even maybe a month in jail, but not 6 months or a year or 2 years, and then double on a second offense. And that'll happen because a lot of people, you know, are dealers. They're just going to keep dealing. I mean, we know people get convicted. It doesn't stop them because that's one of the few niches in life. For example, this economy, for example, if you grow more than 5 plants and sell it to 2 people, that makes you an organized crime group of 3 people. And with all the people being laid off and let go from the fishing and lumber and all the resource industries are basically down, even oils of it is off. So if you get laid off, the only job that people can convert to really quickly would be growing cannabis. And they already have their home, and now they can't pay for their home. So the only way to really pay the bills is to start growing cannabis in your home. Well, not only can you lose your home if you grow cannabis and lose your kids, and so many other things, and lose your right to work because with a criminal record, you can't get a job. It's me. I was just in Thunder Bay. Anyway, with a conviction there, can't be a trucker because you got to go to the U.S. border for a trucker. You can't be a banker. You can't join the post office. You can't be a bonded employee of any place, and you can't be an accountant, and you can't be a lawyer. I mean, all of a sudden, a little stupid pot conviction, and like most jobs aren't even available to you. You can't travel to the U.S. Can't go to a U.S. university, and they can't come here. Anybody with a pot conviction in the U.S. can't come and visit Canada for 5 to 10 years either. So it's this terrible thing. And as I point out to people all the time, rapists don't lose their home, but pot people do. You know, even rapists don't lose their kids.
Nice.
Right, but pot people do. So it's bizarre that the worst punishment is reserved for the people who are no threat to society. And typically in my longer speech, I point out to people that if it weren't for the pot people, this world wouldn't nearly be as beautiful a place. I mean, imagine a world without the iPhone or the iPod or MacBooks, because Steve Jobs was a pothead when he developed all those. Imagine the world without Microsoft, and because Bill Gates and Paul Allen were total stoners when they developed the Microsoft system in 1979. And Ted Turner was a total pothead when he developed CNN, and Moses Neimer when he developed Much Music and CG, all potheads, you know. And then you look at music, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, every hip-hop album, reggae, blues, the jazz, all of these are weeds. Even country western, Willie Nelson, Toby Keith, they're all potheads. If it weren't for potheads, the world would be bereft of so much beautiful literature, so much beautiful music. Every video game's been done by a pothead. Every video game you've ever played is a pothead. That's all we can sit around and figure out how we can make a better game than we all play on the
One reason why they get so many sales is because of potheads.
And potheads, well, and food. Look at all the industries that are on. So, you know, we make such incredible contributions to the world, and yet we're despised and hunted down like animals. And in other words, in some ways treated worse than murderers and rapists and hardcore criminals because they don't lose their home, they don't lose their car, they don't lose their children. You know, I mean, you can do heinous things and still keep all your family, but for some reason you can lose everything if you're just involved in marijuana or illegal drugs. It doesn't make any sense. And in a sense, people often ask me, well, then why does this happen? I mean, marijuana can cure so many illnesses. You'll never get Alzheimer's if you smoke marijuana, a joint after age 52. You'll never get cancer of the lung or respiratory diseases of the lungs if you just smoke marijuana. It'll clean your lungs. It'll keep them healthy, fit your whole life long. People with MS swear by it. People who have epilepsy swear by it. People with AIDS wasting syndrome and cancer chemotherapy swear by it. I mean, there's really nothing else like it that can do so much. You know, a lot of my clothes on this tour are made of hemp. You know, you can buy hemp cereals and hemp foods right on the street. I know you can. In the grocery store, you'll buy hemp. And those are made here in Canada. I mean, the thing is that alcohol, tobacco, and all these legal things that kill you, in fact, everything legal will kill you. I mean, peanuts are legal, they kill some people, sesame seeds give some people anaphylactic shock, salt and sugar will kick your ass. I mean, sugar is the leading killer in Canada now. Obesity is bigger than tobacco, which kills 42,000 people in Canada every year, right? And yet they're all legal, and you never see the president of J.R. McDonald Tobacco called up for a manslaughter or murder or a noxious homicide or any of these things, nor do you see the president of Molson Breweries ever called to account for the fact. In fact, you buy a bottle of Jack Daniels, it doesn't even have a warning sign that he's skull and crossbones. Right? But you look at the Drano under your sink has that, but who's drinking Drano? I never see anybody, never heard of it. Oh, maybe a 2-year-old wanders, but they don't get very far. It tastes pretty terrible. right? But nobody ever drinks Drano, but it's got warning signs, do not drink or consume this, it is poison, right? But a bottle of Jack Daniels, which is sold for people to drink and consume, which kills you if you drink the whole bottle in a 24-hour period, doesn't even have a warning
Well,
on
they
it.
do have warnings, you know, no limit drink with it.
No, that's
Why
on,
can't
that's
they
on,
do
that's
that?
on advertising.
Yeah, but why can't they do that for cannabis?
Oh, well, of course, we're treated totally unfairly. I mean, you're expected to gamble. They say know your limit, play within it, or drink responsibly. But with cannabis, it's total prohibition.
Yeah.
Nothing. No choices available to you, right? Even though pot's the only thing out there. I mean, really, even Walkerton, Ontario saw water from the tap kill people, 8 people, right?
Yeah.
Nobody was responsible for that. Maple Leaf Meats, an Ontario company here, killed people with listeria, 12 of them. They're not going to jail, let me assure you. Nobody's going to be called to account for that, right? So you've got water and deli meats, and you've got salt killing people, and sugar killing people, and fatty foods are addictive, and they kill people all the time. And you can get heart attacks, cholesterol, hypertension, coffee, right? And it's legal. And so, and aspirin kills people. Everything that's legal in the world, guns, fast cars that have speedometers of 260 kilometers an hour, kill you, and they're legal, and nobody's accountable, and something that doesn't hurt you, it's great for your health, it doesn't hurt anybody, you can make clothes, medicine, and all that. It's so illegal that they'll take away our family, our cars, our ability to work elsewhere. It doesn't make any sense. It's all because we're free thinkers. It's all because we don't accept these one-book dogmas, book of the Bible, the book of the law. We're skeptics. And you know, pot people traditionally have 5 enemies: parents, teachers, politicians, priests, and cops. They all demand unquestioned obedience. They all hate it because as soon as you smoke marijuana in grade 8, 9, 10, or sometime in high school, or even as late as I did at age 22, you start criticizing all the authorities. You begin to realize everything's a hypocritical bowl of swill, right? That everything you learn in high school is all lies. All the history is completely wrong. The wars were all unnecessary that we fought. Half the people who went to fight the wars in World War I and II in Alberta and Saskatchewan were taken off to Europe in leg irons and chains. They refused to go. They ran away. They were actually had to be grabbed, chained, and taken away by force to serve in our foreign wars. I mean, they don't tell you about the genocides that wiped out all the population that we took over. You never hear any of that about how out west they persecuted the Chinese, the Doukhobors, the Hutterites, the Germans, the trade unionists, the socialists, the farm, everybody who wasn't white, British-born, English-speaking, because that's what the RCMP is all made up of in those days, and almost always now. So there's a brief synopsis of what I tell people when I'm on the road. Oh, yeah, right, okay, yeah.
Stoners. Gotta love it.
The other thing right next to you is, no, the use of this information out to people.
Well, fortunately, what we're going to do is, it's been recorded, like you've just recorded parts of it, and what I'm hoping they'll do is put on a DVD and send it to Jody, because what we want to do is put a video, and I'm tentatively, I'm calling it, I hope I'm not telling you for the last time, because Jerry Seinfeld's one, where it says I'm telling you for the last time, because he doesn't use those jokes anymore. I thought it was kind of cute, so this one is I hope I'm not telling you for the last time, and Jody's going to prepare a DVD of this speech, and it's going to go from location to location.
Great
So for a
idea.
5-minute segment of some kind, we're going to use this.
Yeah.
So it shows every place I visited from Vancouver to Newfoundland.
Oh, cool.
Right? And yet hopefully it'll be seamless, so it'll be like some 2-hour speech that will have the best of a whole bunch of different scenes, right?
Brilliant.
It'll take some time to edit, but then we'll give Jody a good project that she gets to see me and everybody, and then we can release the DVD and it'll remind people I'm in jail, and yet it'll give them my last great statement. And then when I get out, you know, we'll have the farewell or welcome back to it.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I'm taking her to Europe, South Africa, and India as well.
Nice.
We've got people who like to see us around the world that I haven't traveled in 12 years, because my idea was I bet the Americans would try and pick me up anywhere, because you don't have any rights when you're outside your own country, and you don't even have that many rights when you're in your own country, as I'm finding out, right? I mean, when the Canadian government's never refused an extradition request by the U.S. in 140 years, you figure, wow. So for selling seeds, I can get sent off to a U.S. federal penitentiary, right? And the Americans themselves sell millions of these seeds. We make millions of these seeds in Canada and grow hemp with them and what have you. But those very same seeds to grow marijuana are being sold in hundreds and hundreds of compassion clubs in California where it's legal to do so. And they're selling, my friend Richard Lee sells 500 cuttings a day at his shop in Oakland for all the different compassion clubs. So these seeds, these plants, these cuttings are being sold by the thousands or the hundreds of thousands in California right now. 500,000 Californians have that medical card. 500,000 people, I mean, that's a pretty serious chunk, and they're about to legalize marijuana in California later on this year. I believe it will happen. Arnold Schwarzenegger said he would offer, the people want it, fine. If their representatives bring it or wins a plebiscite, he will not oppose it. So California is so desperately in need of money. They're $22 billion short this year. It's estimated that legal cannabis at $50 an ounce tax which is what they're proposing, would generate $3 billion. And the marijuana tourism that would probably occur, I'd say, because you have like 5 to 7 million Canadian potheads, and you